Welcome to Marsha's Plate, a Black trans-inclusive feminist podcast. A place where we know that not everybody is invited to the cookout. And we also know that every single day is a brand new day, and we have the power to make a difference today. So let's do this.
It's a new day, brand new day, make it better than yesterday. You can always find a way to turn it all around again. It's a new day, brand new day, make it better than yesterday. You can always find a way to start over again. Tuesday, when the sun rises, you can start over again. A new day, you can make it better than yesterday. It's a new day, it's a new day, new day. There's a way you can turn it around. Trust me, there's a way out. There's more time. Just don't give up. When the sun rises on a new day, you got another chance. Yeah, 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 yeah. A new day, you got another chance.
If you want to join the conversation, you can hashtag Marsha's Plate. You can follow us on most social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. Just search for Marsha's Plate, MARSHASPLATE. Y'all ready? Let's get started.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Hey,
What's
peace,
going
peace,
on?
peace.
Oh, it is March.
Yep.
A spring break. Well, not break, but spring break is among us. And here in Houston, that means that it is the rodeo.
Oh, okay. Come on, Rodeo.
Yes, honey, the rodeo show, honey. What the hell is I don't even know what the hell is a rodeo. All I know is horses and cows and shit, right? Bulls.
Riding bulls. It's a animal show. I don't want to ruin the definition because I'm not a native Houstonian, so I don't want to give a full definition of what it is. But to me, it reminds me of Indiana my hometown is Indiana State Fair. It's where people come and show off their animals. People show off they sell their goods. People come from the whole state and go and see a lot of stuff. Now here, to me, it feels more entertaining because because it's a way bigger city, of course. So they have like a whole concert of artists. Like it was a feature, different times. Like this week, I think it was Lizzo. She was the headliner. And
Okay.
so it's like a whole concert, musical concert. But I think the main thing is like the rodeo where the cowboys come out and ride bulls and show off their horses and show off their animals, and that it's a whole cultural iconic thing here in Houston. And it lasts for like a month. So it's just not like a one weekend kind of thing. It's like a long event where there's tons of stuff happening, but that's to get a gist of it. They have all kinds of things.
Stay like a state fair kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's kind of that's what it reminds me of, the state fair from back home.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to do my due diligence and get into, because y'all know I'm a history buff, so I'm gonna definitely have to do my due diligence and get into the history of it all, because I'm catching the state fair vibes. Here in Maryland we had Preakness. I don't know if y'all heard of that, so I'm guessing that's kind of the same type of vibe too. So I'm going to have to get into the history of it, because it's giving me like the impression of like Elks, like fairs in general are giving me like the impression of like Elks Lodge parade, but for white people. Maybe back in the day, maybe that's how it originated. I don't want to create a false narrative, but
Hold on, Bree. When you say Elks Lodge parade, what do you mean for folks who might not be familiar with that?
Oh my God, if you're not familiar with an Elks Lodge parade, then that means you must didn't grow up around niggas. Oh my Lord Jesus. Or maybe it's an East Coast thing.
I think that's an East Coast thing.
It's regional.
Let me change that. The Elks Lodge is a cultural Black thing. Some people associate it with Masonry, which a lot of Elks Lodge members are Freemasons. And yeah, it dates back long before my time. Um, I think it gets its origins in the Black Renaissance of the USA, known as the Great Migration, also known as the Harlem Renaissance. But yeah, for all of my life growing up, we would travel state to state, city to city, and there would be Elks parades, and they were essentially parades that focused on Black people, and we kind of do well, I can't say did because they still happen, but they're starting to die out more because fairs and rodeos and things like that are starting to become more integrated. So I think that naturally the all Black or Black exclusivity of it is starting to dissipate. But yeah, people showing off their cars, people showing off their talents. There will be groups of double dutchers, groups of dancers, drill teams, marching bands, local school bands, local HBCUs will
Wow.
come out and show their talents and skills, and it's just about celebrating honestly Black culture, Black art, and Black wealth. For the superficiality of it, but of course, that means a lot with us living in a capitalistic country and a capitalistic society. Black wealth is something that is necessary for the Black community as a whole to prosper, at least while we're still in a capitalist society. But yeah, it's something I still look forward to. I visit back home to go to Elks parades and Elks functions. They're essentially at this point they're like a Black homecoming for people from my small rural town, and I know that that holds true
Mhm.
with a lot of other towns that hold Elks Lodge ceremonies and other towns that have an Elks Lodge.
That also reminds me when you mentioned Diamond talking about Circle City in terms of it feeling like a reunion.
What Bree is describing, that's what that sounds like to me, where the bands come together, HBCUs come together. Only I think that's something very similar. I think, but with the rodeo, I think the livestock agriculture and the livestock is the focus. Like it's
I get it.
the bulls and the cowboy lifestyle and the it literally is the largest livestock show in the world.
Here we have the water, but we do celebrate horses, and we do have our horses at fairs, and our you can find cops riding on horses, and Assateague Island has its own species of
Mhm.
horses, which is in Maryland. But yeah, no, so we do have horses, but our livestock here, the wealth is in the water. So,
And
that it makes sense why we never really had cowboy culture here.
Mm.
it's funny too. Now, just talking about region, like I don't think there's anything like that here. I mean, you do have like during Juneteenth or some certain events, you might have the Buffalo Soldiers come out and like in uniform and things like that. I think Seattle and Tacoma have a rich culture around like horse
Wait. When you
riding.
say here, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm
Because I
sorry.
don't
When I
know
said
what you're
here, my bad. In Wisconsin, like the upper Midwest of Wisconsin, a little bit of like northern Illinois or northeastern Illinois, Chicago
saying.
area, Milwaukee, Chicago area. I don't think that, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that's as big because it's just like more urban. These are more urban places than even Baltimore or that part of the East Coast because you're not on that water like that. Um, and up here it's like dairy farms and all that kind of stuff. And we definitely are not in that industry, kind of underrepresented in that industry greatly compared to,
Yeah,
like you mentioned,
that
Diamond,
area.
like you going back generations and generations and generations of like Black farmers, Black folks being involved with agriculture, um, or I'm sure like working on the water breed out there on the East Coast, on the Eastern Shore.
Yeah,
But
y'all known for dairy. Y'all, that region is known for dairy.
yeah, but I know like yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, it's just interesting the regional piece because yeah, it was like people came here for like a lot of people came here the Great Migration, the second wave was like industrial jobs. That first wave, a lot of people was like trying to work for good white people, but that's a whole different conversation. But yeah,
So
no, that's cool though. That's really cool. To hear
so
about both of those things, Diamond, like what y'all got going down there, and then you talking about the what'd you call it, the Elks Parade,
Outslides, yeah,
Elks
outslides
Lodge,
parade.
yeah, yeah,
we definitely had Elks Lodge in Indianapolis. We definitely had them, but they were a whole different
yeah. We got Elks too, but I
they
never seen the
weren't
parade.
as culturally relevant in our
No,
they were
it's very
there
superficial.
they were there and they had culture, but they were more relevant to church life. They weren't necessarily
Mm,
relevant. Like they were a part of, like it was a lot of church folks that were part of Eastern Star and a part of
yeah,
and
Prince All
Wow,
Masons.
it was
Yeah,
that's interesting. And that regional difference because here the outslides, they're kind of known as the heathens.
yeah, no,
Diamond, because you came out of Indianapolis, Indianapolis. I think Milwaukee is kind of similar, right?
yeah.
When it comes to the Prince Hall Masons, Eastern Star, and the
They were
Elks
like
Lodge. It was
fraternities.
very secretive, not really necessarily
Yeah.
as engaged with the community in that kind of way. Even though I will say, they do stuff, but it's not as front facing. Like I know they have scholarships and other programs that they do, but a lot of times that fundraising is amongst their own people,
Right.
and those
That's
are the
how it
kind of
was.
events. But the output is, I know I got a scholarship for college. Dude, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So like they do stuff, but yeah, not like what you're talking about, Bree, in terms of that's interesting because black folks always been out there in both places, in the settler colony, a very longer than out here.
They were
Yeah,
very much in the how do I they were
They're more
mm,
like upper class, middle class.
yeah, it
Yeah, I
was
mean, yeah,
very Jack and Jill. It was very much
yeah,
like a fraternity. It
yeah,
was exactly like
absolutely.
the D9. Not well, really kind of, yeah, but except it
Similar,
wasn't
yeah.
connected to in our area, it wasn't
scholarship.
connected to college. It was connected to
Yeah.
church. And so
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
definitely
A
did
social
certain
club,
things in
right?
community, but it also wasn't super, super public facing. Like, oh my God, they was, the way you describe them, like they fucking exciting. Ours wasn't fucking
Yeah,
exciting. They
exactly,
wasn't doing no
exactly.
Oh yeah, I mean,
bands and
but
shit.
it's also a regional thing because down, if I'm not mistaken, Diamond, you are from the area of Battle of the Bands, right?
Mhm.
That's a part of
My
your region.
school,
And
college.
see, that's where Mississippi, right? That all of that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
see, that's our version of that too. We incorporated that into Elks parades. We had the battle of the bands, the battle of the region, and
Okay.
it was a big deal for being from a small town or rural area like I was from because bands and stuff came from Baltimore and DC and
Uh,
Philly, and stuff like
that's,
that.
do
Mhm.
you know how long they've been doing that, Bree?
Child, I imagine since the 1920s, but I'm not
Wow.
sure.
Oh my God, I want to thank all of our new patrons this week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yay, 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 yay. So, not only are you helping to sustain this particular podcast, I also donate to other podcasts, I donate to other organizations. I have my finger on the pulse of the community. And I know a lot of grassroots organizations that are doing great work out here. So you're not only helping to sustain us, you're helping to sustain other people in a community because I put my money where my mouth is. That's just the kind of bitch I am. Community is fuck. So thank you. I really, really appreciate you. And if you have not become a patron, why have you not? You can donate as low as $1 a month. It doesn't matter. Anything helps. Please. Do I have to play Sarah McLachlan and show you puppies? Like, what do I have to do? Do I have to resort to what the white people do to get you to give them money?
Anyway, the link is in the bottom. Back to the show. At the rodeo, the matriarch of the Knowles. Now y'all know Beyonce because this is her hometown. That they are like royalty here
Right.
in Houston. But also before they were, why I'm bringing this up. Before they were famous, they were kind of like a not I want to say royalty, but they of course now it's like, oh my God, the Knowles family is the ones. But even before they were famous, they had made a name for themselves here in Houston
Mm.
because they were a upper middle class family.
The
So,
salon was
so
popular.
yeah, very, very popular before fame. Like this is because of Matthew and because of Tina, what they
Look at
did.
that. Hold on, Diamond. When you, um, for folks that might not be in the governance, grow up in the governance structure of our community like that, when you say somebody's very well known, usually that means because of what, like their activity in the community, them quote giving back to the community or throwing events, things like that.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they were a family who, so if you notice, Beyonce never said unless it's real performative. Especially, she didn't come up out of the gutter. Like she didn't come up out of, oh, I lived in the projects in the hood, da da da
Mm.
da da. Beyonce lived in Third Ward, the rich part of Third Ward.
Oh yeah,
She,
I think that's been made clear in her
yeah,
family that they was middle class, upper
yeah,
middle class, and that's part of
Mm.
the reason why Kelly moved in with them.
yes, they were.
Yeah,
They
no, I had a lot of things
so
to do. Sorry about that.
so Matthew was, this sales super successful salesperson at Xerox, and Tina had a very very super multi-million dollar successful salon called
Headliner.
Headliners here in Houston. And so they're the type of family that regionally in the city, they would be in the city magazines. They would, if they were somewhere else that would, if it was a debutante ball type of situation, their daughters would be out doing debutante shit. If it was that era, this is the type of family that they come from. And so, a family with a little bit of coin. And so I recently read Matriarch by Tina Knowles, and connecting this to the rodeo. Tina is at the rodeo this year selling gumbo.
Oh
So,
wow,
she's running Sacred because that's her
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 brand.
Beyonce's brand of hair care line, but she also is selling gumbo. And if people are complaining about how much the gumbo is too high, and they like, girl, Tina, you tried it. But it's quite interesting. Why I'm bringing that up is because recently the messy side of what's going on is Matthew Knowles was talking shit during an interview that wasn't supposed to air.
What did she do?
I saw that clip. Diamond, break it down. I saw that
What did
clip.
she do?
Yes, he was asking, basically the interviewer was asking Matthew Knowles, not even really asking, really just kind of just giving them them as their daughter's parents, both their rides about how they contributed to their careers and their success. And to me, the interviewer, the question wasn't rude. The question didn't pit them against each other. It was very like, y'all, it is legendary how y'all have steered y'all children into success and da 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 da.
Are
And he
you
said,
both,
you
right?
both,
As
like he was very
parents
you both.
together.
And honey, Matthew just randomly get to what did she contribute, and very much like
What did she do? He
what,
said.
yeah, it was very much extra and late. And so now he is going around kind of like on not an apology tour, but kind of trying to spin it and gaslight us like he wasn't being
Yeah.
messy.
Next time, bitch, honey, super unleaded. Bitch, he is out here gas lighting with his child with his prune looking ass, honey. Remember the raisins? Remember the raisins that used to sing the Temptation songs back in the day in the commercial? Matthew looked like he should have been in that band.
That's what what's his name from Miami? Trick Daddy looked like.
Oh my God. No, Trick Daddy looked like one of the bad raisins that you throw in the trash that you pluck out. Trick. I don't mean no harm, but Trick Daddy looked like a petri dish of STDs. I ain't gonna lie to you. And has for a long time.
So
No, that
I
boy.
thought it was quite interesting that he would click out on her, well, click out on the interviewer in that kind of way, because in reading Matriarch, the book by Tina Knowles, you really get to see a detailed, the reason why she wrote the book is very clear that I need y'all to know my story as a woman, not just Beyonce stories, my story of me outside of my daughter being Beyonce, and outside of Matthew. She was always kind of like, we know, the backbone of the family, and Matthew was a leader. Like she was raised in that the southern culture of the man be in the front, the man be the
Diamond,
lead.
you being real nice and politically incorrect, but Matthew needs to sit his ass down. I don't know if Matthew is senile and got forgetful or what, but when Matthew decided to leave Xerox, honey, who the fuck was holding it down? Headliner Salon was keeping them middle class in that middle class neighborhood. Matthew need to shut the fuck up. He would have never been in a position where he could quit Xerox if he didn't have a woman like Tina Knowles by his side, and if he never had the lenience or the financial leeway to make moves like that, then Beyonce would have very likely been pushed by somebody else because she was going to be in the industry regardless. And that's something that I think he fails to realize. I think he tried to, like, what did she do? Like, anybody could have did their hair, anybody could have dressed them. But the thing is, nobody was. And you such this great, incredible manager, but one of the reasons that Tina stepped in is because she had to. And you failed to leave that out because Matthew didn't take the image of Destiny's Child that serious. Matthew couldn't even come up with a motherfucking name, and Tina's the one who created it. That name is a huge part of their motherfucking brand. Your look in this superficial society, those girls came out during the 106 and BET and
Yeah.
R&B, and they competing with grown
I
ass
mean,
motherfucking women. They
yeah.
compete in the looks department. You coming out and you competing with a Tony Braxton who can actually sing and is beautiful. You know what I mean? Like you competing with that caliber of woman. You know what I mean? You competing with Janet Jackson, who didn't even have to be able to sing at all, but the little bit that she can do, bitch, has made her what? Janet motherfucking Jackson.
I
You know,
mean,
but
yeah. I mean, the early 2000s too. When Destiny Child first came out, they had a very specific look as a group until the third album. That was like very, that she helped set, especially in the early 2000s when everything was very like blingy.
no, she was still dressing them and styling them during the third album. I think the
Yeah, yeah.
last
No, I'm not saying she wasn't. I'm just saying like the look was like it changed, right? Because they were supposed to be more
it
mature.
started to
Destiny's
evolve.
Child, da da da
Yeah,
da da.
yeah.
But I'm just saying the look that they had prior to that was like there was clearly a link, right? In that they're working with someone like before we knew everybody, before the world knew, I guess, that it was Tina Knowles. It was clear that they had a specific type, like you said, that was a part of their success. Was like
Yeah.
their look,
Yeah.
all that, yeah, for sure.
And it actually goes back further than that. They are a 90s group
Right.
that they came out mid to late 90s. They were in the game early. That because
Hold on, Diamond. I remember I won tickets on the radio to see. I want to say whatever that movie that had Usher in it that came out. That one movie where they're like in high school or something. Anyway,
mm,
but anyway, or maybe it was. Anyway, I back up. I digress. I won tickets on the radio. That's the wrong story. But I won tickets on the radio to go to the festival grounds and see Usher, and Destiny's Child was like the opening act. Like to your point, like when they first came out, all they really had was no, 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 no. I
yeah.
think they were just about to start their second single, but it was like, oh, okay, Destiny's Child. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they're opening up for Usher. Cool. Like it just,
I ain't gonna lie
yeah.
to you. At
In high
first
school, yeah.
it was given just another girl group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of the era, yeah, especially, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not for me. So I thought that when I first heard them, it was given, oh, this is about to be the new In Vogue for me. Because In Vogue,
I agree. I agree. But
it was
we girls with a musical ear though. I think the other children was looking like, it's another girl group.
I mean,
and
for me, it
they
was
did the
very,
two
I'm
versions.
listening. Yeah,
They did the two versions. They did the fast one with Wyclef Jean, and then they did the slow one where they was more sexy. And look, I love that they did two different videos. It was just so dope. And to me, people used to talk shit about, how because Tina made their outfits. It wasn't just, I'm just designing and somebody's making it, or I'm finding it. Da, da, da. She was making their outfits
exactly,
to their
exactly.
bodies. And it was very cookie cutter. But to me, that I remember when they were in a Word Up magazine and they had multiple different looks in that Word Up magazine where it was like an Asian look. It was like she had done so many different fabrics on their body, and some people was talking about how corny it was, but I'm like, this is what makes a group. You want to see how they do different things with the fucking group. This is what was sickening. This is
Right.
what made us love the Supremes. What made us love the LaBelles. What made us love.
And Tina noted that exact thing that you're saying, Diamond.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what are y'all talking about? Even when it was going on, I was like, what are y'all? This is sickening to me.
Mhm.
Like, this is what we like groups for. This is what the groups are fucking missing.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie at first, and I've admitted this before online, but at first I was one of those people who like it was too cowboy for me. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
grew up in the hip hop era, you know what I mean? And I lived for 70s fashion. You know what I mean? But I always lived for streetwear. And them like these custom made dresses and like I wasn't into no custom gowns and shit. I was a little teeny bopper girl. I wanted to see them in jeans and cutouts. And we did get those
You wanted to
moments
see
too.
Escape.
We did,
Later, yeah,
we did,
yeah.
yes, I did want to see Escape. But yeah, no, we did get those moments too, and no shade. Looking back, even though some of their outfits I didn't understand then, I get it now. And some of the pieces that Tina made for Darion, and some of the pieces she even still make, they even still making at Darion. I don't know if she's still designing or she sold the company, but I would wear some of those pieces now, but I just didn't get it when I was younger. But so I understand why people was mad, but I also know that it's part of the reason why they were in the conversation because they came out when there were a lot of girl groups and when we were scared that groups were breaking up and we was wanting groups to get back together and they was taking too long to make another album because they had really broke up and didn't tell us.
Right.
You know, all that shit. So it was like I think it was some fear and hesitation as well for the audience to get into Destiny's Child. And then also when they had the scandal of the split up that wasn't a full breakup, that scared the fuck out of a lot of people too, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it made them part of the conversation.
So I just thought it was messy as hell for him to even mention that because
Yeah,
she had
absolutely.
gave him so much grace in the book. Like in the book, even with his messiness, infidelity, and da 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 da, she had
All
gave
of
him
that.
so much of his rods and roses. Like Matthew, both of them, she talked about how there was a time when her parents were literally dying and she couldn't even during their wedding, like they couldn't she had to go deal with her dying parents on the day of their wedding. So
Wow.
they couldn't even consummate it like normal. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because her parents were literally dying like in that moment. And so she was like, what I loved about Matthew was that he was a provider. When it was come to take care of and protect her, he protected us, defended us. Anytime she talked about how when people were like, oh, y'all too motherfucking soulful. Like Bree just was talking about, y'all too motherfucking soulful. You doing this kind of kitschy country ass shit, and you need to be in something more high end. And the big company was record company was like, no, we need to fire Tina. And Matthew was like, no, my wife got us to this point, and y'all fuck with us because of my wife. And da 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 da. He was super super protective of her. And
Mhm.
of course, the girls was like, no, we want to keep our mama and blah 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 blah. So
Right.
So she just was really, really gracious and not dogging him at all. She was saying, yeah, he did all this other shit, but we would not be here without Matthew. And also, we wouldn't be here without me because when he was falling off, and when I got with this motherfucker, he was in super debt. It wasn't like we came in and he was just like, oh my God, I'm making all this money. No, he had credit card debt. He had so much debt. And when I came into his life, I changed that about him. Let me show you how to hustle this thing. Because my mama and dad taught me how to hustle and take care of money. And so I'm coming in and I'm going to show you how to do it. And they were a power fucking couple. He said, I'm getting you a fucking house for my family. And he did. He went and got us a house in Third Ward in the fancy neighborhood and blah, blah, blah. Everything he said he was going to do, he did for us. That's how she explained it. And so she was super, super gracious. So when I seen that video, I'm like, this has to be the most narcissistic asshole in the world because, and I can see why she left your motherfucking ass. I don't know why she stayed as long as she did, but
Honey, a lot of us didn't.
yeah, I'm like, she give you so much grace and don't talk about your flaws and don't talk about anything negative about you. And you get on this thing, and it'd be different if the fucking
The question,
interviewer was
right? The
being
question was
messy.
so open. The question, I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't like you said. It wasn't really necessarily even a question. It just was like a quick comment that wasn't gaslighty. It wasn't like, oh, Tina did everything. He literally was like, oh yeah, you both, and he got into
As
his
a
heels,
couple, ate.
got up and
Yeah,
left. Jesus.
I heard that too, Jay. I heard the interviewer very blatantly come off commentary, very much like you and Tina ate that with what y'all did with Destiny
It was a
Child, and
compliment,
Matthew was
right?
like, What did she do, honey?" But yeah, no, I think from and I don't know these people enough to be able to diagnose them or anything like that, but just from what I hear and from what I've analyzed them saying publicly and writing publicly and recording publicly and all of the things, because I watch the Knowles family very much like many people do. I keep an eye on them on what they do publicly. And it's been made very clear by Beyonce that her humility is full in contribution to her mother. Behind the scenes, when the cameras weren't on, her mother was very much from the beginning like, no, we're not doing that. No, we're not. We're not doing we're better than other people. We're not doing that, honey, because just as easy as it's given to us, it can be taken away. You know what I mean? And so I think that's something else too, because Beyonce's relationships with people and her persona overall, her connections, a huge contribution to how she makes it in the industry, as the industry, in the music industry, where people are doing business and making money and relationships are everything. She's always stood clear of negative press and all of that shit. Anything that's ever been said bad about her has always been rumor and speculation. So yeah, I applaud Tina, and Beyonce and Matthew. Yeah, yet again, you have shown us your true colors. But we know how it goes. As people get older, they get more comfortable with saying the quiet parts out loud. And if Matthew continues talking the way he has been, I think we're going to learn even more about the bad side of Matthew Knowles via Matthew Knowles.
Yeah, I think the book made it clear that he couldn't keep his dick to himself. He was a great father. He was a risk taker, but the problem was he couldn't keep his dick to himself. To his wife, he needed to give it away to people, which was a problem. Anyway, let us know what is your cultural stuff that goes on in your area. Like, do y'all have like a state fair or a rodeo happening in your area? And what y'all think about this Matthew Knowles and Tina Knowles debacle? Hashtag Marsha's Plate.
Break it down, Brie.
Hashtag MARSHASPLATN. Honey, since the last time we recorded, y'all, I've had a seizure. And
Mm.
I will tell y'all every seizure I've had. I will tell y'all every time I have a seizure, right? I'll just let you know because they're that infrequent. I'm sure y'all can't remember me telling y'all about another seizure, and I probably maybe had one other one since I've been shooting this show with y'all, right? But I had a damn seizure, honey. And it came out of it scared me because it came. This one scared me because it came out of surprise. Typically, I can feel when they're coming. Um, and so I sit my ass down somewhere. For me, being epileptic had not even really became a fear or issue anymore because most people who are epileptic who pass away while having a seizure, they pass away by hurting themselves while having a seizure. I have had concussions from falling when I was younger, having seizures. Unfortunately, I survived that. Probably part of the reason I'm crazy there. But yeah, I had a seizure, and this one scared me because I didn't feel it coming. And there are many factors, which I'll discuss. I'll get more into what's going on with me later in the euphoria. But there are a lot of good things that are happening right now. And there are a lot of life changes for me that are going on right now. So it's many factors that could have contributed to why I have this seizure. Honey, but I said all this just to say that the possibility of the stress of us officially being at war and the U.S. name officially being on bombings. I want to do a wellness checkup with y'all. How have y'all been feeling since this advancement in our involvement in various wars, and how do y'all have y'all been checking in with y'allself, or are y'all aware of anything going on with y'allself, or is it just another day for y'all?
I mean, it is stressful, right? Like it is stressful, but I think how I'm situated in terms of just like my own interest, clearly predictable. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Like around the shit I've been following, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people being like, girl, we
I
going to
get it.
war. And if that's something you've been following for a minute, there are a lot of people who have been in the military who have said even, last year, even prior to that, around just looking at other things happening around, oh, they moved this over here, moved the boat up, or they're, the procurement of things. Like they're stocking up on X, Y, and like there are signs that they're ready to do like something's about to go down. Um, but yeah, no, it is stressful. I got other stressors, that I've shared just with health and family stuff. So I've been trying to keep it chill uh and consume the information that makes the most sense to me and doesn't make me feel some kind of way. So in turn, yeah. So that's part of the reason why I'm like, I get my democracy now in the morning. I might check out some Joy Reid or check out my Rolling, and I get it in doses. And other media that's not gonna make me want to yell at the TV or yell at, just give me the information. Real journalists, like you're an actual journalist, not a commentator, a journalist who has to hit, follow certain standards. Um, to just get the direct information or like international news, to get just the information. You know, Praying for these babies that got killed with our tax dollars. That is stressful, but yeah, I'm just trying to keep it chill and stay informed, but also yeah, make sure I'm taking care of myself. With, eating, sleeping, checking out on those fundamental things. Am I eating? Am I sleeping? Am I breathing? Am I moving my body? No, for real.
No,
Like, you know what I'm
let's
saying?
let's
Because
stay
it's
there.
so easy to just
Let's
kind of
stay let's stay on the
just,
breathing for
yeah.
a second, Jay, because I think a lot of people wouldn't even understand that there's seriousness in that's not just a kiki or pun or a talking point. No, making sure you're genuinely taking deep breaths, people. making sure your body, yeah, your breathing is involuntary, something you're naturally going to do, but we do not, especially as Americans, because time is so constrained in our culture. A lot of people and a lot of times we don't take time to actually just sit and take deep breaths. And if you're somebody who doesn't, just sitting right now while you listening to us and taking a couple deep breaths might make you feel a little bit different.
I'm really grateful for the, because I also, like I said, got all this other stuff going on with my family. My dad's getting older, that all that kind of stuff, my own personal stuff with my health. Um, and the one of the therapists that I worked with the longest when I was in Seattle, who was also a Black trans masculine person from the Midwest, what I'm saying, which was really helpful. But they, they were like, your body is going to respond to stressors and trauma. Your body doesn't care about what it is, the details, right? It just knows the intensity levels. So a lot of the coping skills, they're going to work. It's easy sometimes, I think, and I know I felt this way in the past, think that, oh, but I got to break down all these things and the details, but you don't really understand, da 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 da, and da 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 da. But the brain and the body, it doesn't care, right? It's just going to
Yeah,
respond to how you react to it. And so that was really, really, really powerful. So in those moments, especially right now, where I'm finding myself in some very intensely stressful situations where I have to kind of gauge and to see what I'm going to do, I have to check in to make sure I'm breathing, check in to make sure I'm present, and check in to see what I'm going to do and not be in the freeze part, a fight or flight or freeze because it's so
mhm.
intense and then I'm not doing anything. Right. Right. And that first step is really kind of accepting the situation so I can do something. But in those moments, yeah, I have to check in with myself and remind myself the details do not matter. My body is feeling this. How do I get my body to chill the fuck out? So, so that I'm good. And, my sister even was like, man, you spend too much money on certain stuff with food. You got to be better about, because I've been kind of whatever. And I was like, okay, but like I know for me and for everybody, I'll say this. Let me back up. I know for me, I know for everybody, it's important to eat healthy food. We all deserve access to healthy fucking food. That's not going to kill us,
Mhm.
right? We all deserve
Mhm.
that. So if I have to spend a little extra money, if I can, not everybody, and how I'm situated, I'm going to do that because I just, you know what I'm saying? Because I just came from somewhere where I had regular access to this. And I had to, before I moved there, I had to be very intentional on how I moved in the world to get access to it because I know these systems are trying to kill us with fucking chips and soda and shit.
I think you referencing like cuts and SNAP benefits, right? Like part of that coming with cuts and SNAP benefits, and
Mm.
people who needed them in the first place. That's why they were eligible for them in the first place. But cutting them as prices of stuff are going higher, it is cheaper to afford the processed foods and the foods that aren't good for us. You referring to that, right? Or am I
I
off track?
wasn't necessarily specifically to the snap, but also, yeah, to your point, like how much is the water at the little hood gas station or the hood fucking corner store? Oftentimes more expensive than the soda. But anyway, I don't want to digress on that. But yeah, so it's been intense. It's kind of wild. We are at war again, but I was reminded earlier today, in the history of this settler colony, as we hit what 250, it's only been like a decade or something that, or not even 20 years of it, where quote unquote we haven't been at war. You get what I'm saying? So like that's always ongoing. If it's a conflict, Vietnam wasn't technically a war; it's a conflict, right? So like that's a thing. And so that also gives a little, a reminder of like, let me look at this in the reality for what it is, which is it's only really been about 20 years, maybe, that this settler colony as an official quote country has not been at war versus just in this moment, because that helicopter view kind of gets me to chill the fuck out and understand like, okay, it like you know what I'm saying? It kind of brings me back to the ground of the reality and not necessarily kind of the propaganda narrative about what America is and all this other kind of shit.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Diamond, I gotta check in with you, my love. I gotta check in with you, sis. What's on your mind, and how are you coping with it? I know some ways that you are coping with it, but I would love for you to share with the people.
Oh, darlings, I am not at no point in this past 2 weeks worried about no motherfucking war. I have been on a trip for my birthday, and I have not been
Work,
looking.
bitch. Work, bitch. Where
God,
did you go? Do you feel comfortable telling the people where you went?
yeah, I went to
And
I had a dream of going to my dream for my birthday this year was to pet some kangaroos, baby, and I did. So where do they have kangaroos? The only place in the
okay,
world.
okay.
Down under that
Australia.
other settler, one of them other settler colonies. Yeah,
One
yeah,
of the
yeah.
other settler
Was
colonies.
it your first time in Australia, Diamond?
It was my first time in Australia.
Hold on, Diamond, before you get into it, real quick question. Just before you get all the way into it. The toilet, it went down the other way. Did it drain the other way? And yeah, I think that's yeah, because you know they say the it drains the our stuff
The
goes
opposite way. The
clockwise.
swirl
Yeah.
goes the opposite
You
way.
know
Yeah, yeah,
what?
yeah.
I didn't even pay attention. Just,
Didn't even
just,
notice it.
just as I didn't pay attention to that, I didn't pay attention to the war. So the swirl of the toilet and the swirl of the Middle East toilet and
Listen.
that's getting caused by the U.S. I ignore both of those swirls. So yes,
That's fine.
I intentionally um I think I did a post while I was gone saying I hate when these motherfuckers start conflicts and wars when I'm out of the country because it does give me anxiety in the sense of I there is an animosity towards Americans in other countries. There is
Yeah,
an
yeah,
animosity. Now, I didn't have to worry about it in Australia. But
yeah, yeah.
when stuff happens, that does affect how people respond to you when you are in foreign countries. And so I to give you a perfect example, I went to anytime I go to a place, I'm asking two questions. Three questions. Where the food at? Where the food that I need to try and da 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 da. What's the history of this place? I need to do something that has to do with the history of the area, particularly the native people, particularly, whatever going on. I need to know the history of the place. And I always say, where the niggas at? And it may not be particularly black, but where the marginalized
Where's
people
the
of this
color
land.
people at? Yeah.
Yes, where the color people at. So that in Australia, that would be Aboriginal people, and I went to New Zealand too. So I put half of my week was there in Sydney, Australia, and the other half of the week was in Auckland, New Zealand. And so I was in a particular area, and so I also was like, "Hey, where the gay shit? Where the queer shit at?" And so one of the cultural moments, one of the cultural things in America that Australia is known for. There's a club that's in the movie Priscilla, the Queen of the Desert, that drag movie, that classic drag movie, and it's called the Imperial Club. And I went to the Imperial Club, and it was a drag show, it was a party, and the reason why
That's dope.
I had no intention of going to Australia, but they had a Mardi Gras, LGBT Mardi Gras annual every year that was happening literally on the 28th, literally my birthday. And so I was like, oh, once I researched it, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna hit two birds with one stone. I only travel on my credit card rewards points. So when I use it throughout the year, and then I use my credit card throughout the year, and then by the end of the year, I have built enough points to pay for my hotel. Like I didn't have to pay for hotel in both of these places because of my reward points on my credit cards. And so all I had to do was pay for a $1,500 ticket. That's it to get there. And so I was able to it didn't cost me a lot of money because of my credit card points. And so me going here and doing this queer stuff, I was able to ride around, find different stuff, and not really worry about anything. And so I'm doing the history tours. I'm engaging with people. And I was at this club, and the dude when he came, of course I got fly and shit and get to come to the club. He saw me. He was like, "Oh my God, you look fabulous!" And da 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 da.
Yeah, I didn't know you was gonna pull it together like that, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you stepped out. Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, thank you." And so when I spoke, of course, he can tell I'm from America. And he was like, "Oh, you're American." Like his
Oh
tone
wow.
was
It
very
was like a disappointment.
like a disappointment. And so I was like, "Yes, I am." Because, bitch, at the end of the day, I am what I am, and I'm from where I'm from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what I said back was, "Yes, I'm American, but I'm Black American."
And that's a difference, baby. Trust me, honey.
It's a difference. So, and and when I said it, he started laughing where he got the joke. He was like, "I know, I know, I know, I know, I know." And we all kind of, everybody around started kikiing because I said what I said. And so
That's
I
what's
say
up.
that because that's the separation. It's like I hate when the shit start to happen because whatever, it kind of bubbles up and make people real extra annoyed with you for being an American when you're there, and especially if they're doing crazy weird ass shit like they're doing now. And so I try to avoid seeing really good deep diving into it so I can just enjoy my trip without worrying about that. I did come back, and I came back on the 4th. I left on the 25th. I came back on the 4th. And when I came back, I really tried to go and slowly creep back into looking at what's going on. And what was really interesting to me is I follow this girl. So ever since the Iran thing happened in, whatever the other situation with Israel happened, like a couple of years, like a year ago, a year and a half ago. It's something else that happened with Iran that wasn't recent. When they first was like, "Ooh, it's about to be World War III." Whenever that situation happened, I started following people from Iran to see what the people were saying, like the regular, like following people on social media to see what the regular people were saying. And if you don't know about Iran, they are like a theocratic. They have a theocratic governing structure. With limited democratic. They got some very limited democratic voting stuff. Very limited. So it's not like our structure. And so they are the people. There's a big, large portion of the people that didn't fuck with their own government. Similar to how there's a big portion of our people that don't fuck with our leader. And so when this shit is popping off, the girl that I was following, she was like, her people, and a lot of people, she was showing videos and showing just different things. She was like, a lot of people are celebrating this happening because while we don't fuck with America in the sense because of their colonizers, they did kill our fucking leader who has been oppressive to women, who has been oppressive to our people, who didn't let us,
Therapy.
who haven't let us flourish. So we dancing and celebrating his death, where we like, we know we don't like the idea of motherfuckers coming in and we know they're gonna try to control our oil. We know they're gonna try to control us in that way. We don't like that shit at all. But we also didn't like this motherfucker who was fucking oppressing us in our culture, in our government, as
Mm.
women, as people who want to be a little bit more free and not under this theocratic regime and da 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 da. And I was like, oh wow, that's so nuanced to me to learn about because and I learned about other times that the US came in and did some coup with their government years ago in the 60s and all that kind of stuff. And so I know how they come in and meddle in their government just like we do other places. But I just found it interesting where it's like, God, this is so complicated. This is so just it's just so complicated and
Yeah.
nuanced in that situation. So that's all I have. That's the deepest I have gotten in the situation because I did not want it to stress me out in that sense. So I really just got into learning, talking about it, and hearing other people's opinions. So that's the deepest I've gotten into it because I have really been ignoring it, and my mental health and joy in this time of the year, I really control that because I'm just trying to celebrate being big 45, big
Mhm.
real auntie status, really creeping
Mhm.
up on my elder status, trying to get up there. I feel like I'm
Yeah,
not
they
an
try.
elder until I'm 50, so I got 5 more years to be in auntie status. So that's really what I've been focused on. And yeah, I'm not letting these motherfuckers stress me out. Fuck y'all.
I wonder for you, Diamond, if you have this similar sense of security. For me, I
I don't, no,
think
no, no. I don't feel secure at all right now, financially, home. I don't feel secure at all. I'm really because I'm looking for jobs. I'm looking for. I'm. There's so much going on. I'm thinking about moving in with my brother. Thinking about moving to fucking Vietnam. Thinking about it's so many layers to stuff that people are divesting from trans people, from trans
yeah,
work.
you jumped into my question. Actually, one of the examples that you gave me jumped into my question. I was going to ask you, and Jay, do y'all feel a sense of security because like me, we do have, even if we might not have the richest family or the biggest family, we do have families to fall back on a little bit to at least align with. You have your brother's Diamond, and I have my mom and my grandmother and my brother. And Jay, you have the family that you have. You have a bit more family than I can break down right now. But anyway, I wonder if y'all feel any security in that and knowing that you're not alone. And I wonder if, Diamond, you particularly feel any security in the fact that you're comfortable in other countries. You're already comfortable with international travel. You've already done
Mhm.
the routine of getting the fuck up out of here. I wonder if you feel any security in that, but then you mentioned the possibility of going to Vietnam.
Yeah, I don't feel secure in it, but I do with my experience with traveling. I don't have any like fear of going and see what it was, and it's because of what you described, because of my family. My brother, when I was in Vietnam, the last week I was there, I wasn't alone. So the first couple of weeks I was there, I was with my best friend, one of my best friends,
Mhm.
Brianna McCree.
Oh yeah, Chosen Family too. I forgot all about
Chosen family,
Chosen
yeah.
Family.
So me and her kind of ruminated on it and talked about it, so the last week she had to go back because she had to be back at work, and I was like, I'm gonna stay an extra week and go to Thailand, and I was sitting there thinking about it, like, oh my God, like I wish I could um I wonder how can I do this because the cost of living here is so much lower that I would be
Mhm.
able to kind of stretch my money further. Because I have like I talked about this on my live last night. I have about $8,000, period. And
Mhm.
so that can last me for a couple of months. If I don't make any more money, if I don't have any more gigs, the gigs are not coming in the way speaking engagements, the stuff because people are divesting from the performative nature of giving trans people opportunities.
Mhm.
It's just not happening in that same way. And so because of that, I was like, "Ooh, I would be able to stretch that $8,000 in Vietnam way much longer than I can stretch it here in the United States." And so I was thinking about that. And so I was calling my brother, and I was literally crying. Like, part of me is like the fear of, oh my God, like coming to another country, coming to, am I gonna miss my people, miss my chosen family, miss my culture, miss all that kind of stuff? Of course, and you don't know how you're gonna feel. Is it gonna depress you in the situation? And then you have the excitement of the adventure of, ooh, we in a new place, we in a new that is exciting. I'm a adventurer, I'm a traveler. I love to do that. So those things are kind of at a head. The fear of, ooh, you're leaving your home country, and the fear of, ooh, you're going to another country. The adventure of that is kind of clashing. And so I was going through an emotional roller coaster, and I called him, and my brother was like, yo, Diamond, what's the worst could happen? You could go and see what the fuck is up and fail. And guess where you can come? My house. You can live with me and don't worry about it because this is a home for you. And so this is a brother that I raised. This is a brother that, I was his nest when it
So it's good to know that the feeling is
is
mutual.
mutual. And he was
Yeah,
like, you can just come stay with us. Like, we got a whole, like, he literally has a house so big that it's a whole apartment on the bottom floor,
yeah,
kitchen, toilet. You get what I'm saying? I would have my
yeah,
own space in and out. And so him giving me that reassurance also was relief that if I did want to go and try and see and figure it out there, I could make that happen. So that's a possibility, but this is my fucking home. I don't want
yeah.
to leave. I don't want to leave, but I also don't want to be in a situation where it gets so bad where the economy gets, especially with this fucking war, the economy gets so bad where shit is got skyrocketing. We don't I always think of sex work as a tool in my toolbox. I know everybody else don't, but I do. They done gutted sex work possibilities. I can't even get in the game like I used to because they done took down all the fucking sites with with phosphor and
And
septic.
not just that. If the tricks is broke, then they're gonna start robbing the girls
Come
more often.
on.
And
If the tricks
robbing
is
and raping.
broke,
Yeah,
if the
they're gonna start robbing and raping us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's that used to be something I could fall back on to keep me afloat. Now they kind of decimated that now, and so not that isn't even a reliable because I know sex workers that are still sex workers right now, and they like, girl, it's
Uh-huh.
getting
Yeah.
bad. It's
Yeah.
bad out here, and so and I remember that time when I was in fucking when it was 2007 going into 2008 and they were fucking the economy was dropping down and sex work was getting bad. We was clients was it was crazy. And so I had to go get a job. But now jobs ain't even popping off. Jobs ain't even popping off where people are hiring and it's just scary. I don't feel secure. I don't feel like I have a lifeline other than my brother. Um, I just don't feel it. I just don't. I'm looking for work. Other people I know are looking for work, and it's just not. It's just not. It's not a secure time right now, and so and this war feels like it's gonna make it worse.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think for me, and that's why I can't negate the possibility of or the fact that this war is one of the stressors that I'm sure possibly maybe
Oh,
had some effect on my epilepsy. But for me, coping has been
oh,
I've
hey, Brie,
oh, go ahead.
I wanted to respond to
Go
your
ahead,
question
Jay.
about security. You
Go
asked about
ahead. How do knowing that you have family, and I know you're going through family stuff right now,
yeah.
but knowing that you have family, chosen family as well as blood family, is that giving you any sense of security? Are you feeling any sense of security, Jay?
Uh, yes and no. I think that uh, in my family, in my blood family in particular, in many ways, I'm somebody that a lot of people go to because I was in that role as a black girl, black woman in my family before I transitioned. In the traditional, in the way that my mother was for our family. So when stuff comes up, oftentimes I'm getting a call. If someone needs something, needs money, needs a place to stay, needs navigating, I don't know, the court system, anything. They call it, I need a letter recommend all that shit. Um, that doesn't change for some listeners. Just because you might take a hormone, it doesn't mean some of the roles and responsibilities socially that you have played as a woman in your family or even in the world, regardless of what you look like.
especially in
For
film.
transmasculine people, we're still, a lot of us are still holding those responsibilities and holding the responsibilities of the fact that I look like a cis assumed man to many people, a straight one at that. So that means that getting access to support is much more difficult than it was than before I transitioned because ain't nobody trying to help no black men. Period. Outside of the governance structure, outside of our community, externally, right? Now, I
Especially if
can,
you ain't got no child, especially if you ain't got no child.
yeah,
Single
that's what I'm
father.
saying.
I
Right. That's what I'm saying.
single
So, like,
single fathers, we got like we forget that mothers be single mothers when we see a single father.
mhm. I mean, I'm just saying, like, externally, right? When we're talking, like, I
Yeah.
need, shelter, I need food, I need any kind of direct services. There are, even within the trans community, there's very few direct services that were even created in this boom of more money for trans people and direct services that went to specifically trans women, black trans women. Not very few of those resources went to specifically targeting black trans men or trans masculine people. And sometimes we're excluded from those services. So like that shit don't even exist to get taken away. Do you know what I'm saying? like it's kind of rough, you know what I'm saying? So, like you said, you lean it on chosen family, you lean it on I'm leaning on chosen family, my blood family to a certain extent, but like I said, as someone who's had a more considered a more traditional experience after high school, right? In terms of, I left high school, went to UW Madison, you know what I'm saying? Like that's folks are looking this way. So I don't so that's the part that doesn't feel secure. It's like, because I've been kind of going through some things and uh, what it means to go through those things in this body and what's perceived is very, very, it's a very different story than
You mean like
moving as
hormonal
a.
thing?
No, I'm saying just the way I look. I look like system black man. Like if you're struggling with any
Ah,
fucking thing, the way that racism is gendered, gender is racialized
mhm.
always, and so um, having certain struggles as a black woman, or even getting support from other people, folks were more open to support me as a black woman than they would have been as someone who looks like I said, don't let me have a beard because I didn't have time to shave. Oh no, you
But you
definitely, because then the assumption you're dangerous. All the caricatures come out, right? Or you're
so do you feel
stupid.
like
You're da 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 da, not
for
worthy of the
clarity,
support.
for
Um,
clarity, for clarity, do you feel like if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you're saying that you feel like you're getting a double whammy right now because people have the expectations that they've had on you since girlhood, but they put even more expectations on you with manhood.
I'm saying within my family structure, and I think this is the case for a lot of transmasculine people, within my family structure and people I've grown up with, right? That for myself, still holding that space to a certain extent. Now in the world, you know, um, when I lived somewhere where there's way less black people, like Seattle, that looked a lot. They do not fuck with black men.
Okay,
I wasn't living somewhere that had a lot of black people.
I
Now,
get it.
where I'm at now, there's more black people and there's more love that is shown because it's more black folks. And we look out for each other in a different kind of way. And within the community, something that I didn't fully understand until later in the social aspect of my transition. There's a lot of ways in which that black women will go out their way to show you some love because you're in a situation where you feel like you're being hunted. That is very fucking real.
Hmm.
Period. Right? It doesn't mean you get away with fuck shit, but I'm talking about that extra love. Do you need a plate? I had a neighbors, years ago. Hey, I'm grilling, I'm cooking. Do you need a plate? You need shit like that. Like, I went to Walgreens to pick up my tea. I'm out of alcohol pads. I'm out of band-aids, and somebody might slip me the pharmacist, right? Slip me something for free. Things like that. Just little things that add up. Um, I mean, you talked about international travel, Diamond. Like that's definitely something I'm considering. Some of the concerns, I think, for a lot of AFAB folks, depending on did you have a hysterectomy or not? How do you get your testosterone? Did they take both ovaries if you had a oophorectomy? Because if they took both ovaries, you can't be out here with no HRT. You can't be out here with no HRT. You cannot be out here if you have no ovaries without a supplemental hormone, or you will Sophia Petrillo. Okay? Britta
No,
Bones, turn to dust.
it's issues for trans femme people as well if they've had
You know?
orgasectomy.
Thank you for, yeah. What now? What's the, or can you explain what that is real quick?
Traditionally known as castration.
Okay.
Having testicles removed.
So, right. So you don't have a reproductive hormone in your body, whether that's taking one, whatever. If you don't have a reproductive hormone in your body, you need to supplement it, right? Otherwise, it can turn into a whole different set of issues. Um, so that's like a whole thing, which is like a thing. I think for a lot, most AFAB people just got be in and out the hospital more, got to deal with the hospital system more because of reproductive health. So those are things that like are in the mix of consideration of who, where, what, all those kind of questions. Um, but yeah, I'm grateful for chosen family. But yeah, I'm kind of in a, transitional space right now. And a part of the reason I can't depend on, like, I can depend on my blood family to a certain extent, but a part of the reason I can't really depend on them in the same kind of way that they feel like they can depend on me is because of how I'm situated. Do you get what I'm saying? So, like, it get a little, you're right, bro. You kind of get it both sides because on one end, it's like, oh, I want to come to you on some like whatever, help me. And then it's like, oh, you a man. Oh, right. But I'm not socializing one. What the fuck are you saying? Like the fuck? Like
No,
you must be crazy.
I
You
asked
know what I'm
that.
saying? I don't like using that word, but you must be crazy out your damn mind. Right. And
I
so,
asked that based on my own experience because I know, and I don't think people do this intentionally. I think sometimes people do it subconsciously with us trans people. It's whatever benefits them. Their perception changes whenever it benefits
it
them.
seems fit. Right.
Where they see us as that, or me, for example, people see me as that little boy, or they try to hem me when it's convenient for them, but then they try and see me as a woman, or they she me when it's convenient for them as well, not necessarily when it's convenient for me. Do people
Yeah.
realize?
I mean, definitely. I'm not as for myself. Yeah, that's real. I'll say for myself, it's not so much of a pronoun issue, but it's more
Oh
so
no,
of a,
it's not.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
no.
was speaking metaphorically. No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
nobody in my life misgenders me. I was speaking metaphorically, like
Oh, okay.
people ignore. I feel like people ignore the duality of my transness when it's convenient for them,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people accept and recognize the duality of my transness when it's convenient for them.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
will say to your point about chosen family, I'm grateful that for myself that I've been able to maintain a lot of relationships I've had. I have a lot of long time friends from before I transitioned, from high school, college years, adult, working, all that kind of stuff, and obviously people I met later. But I'm grateful for that, um, for a couple reasons in terms of trying to navigate this situation right now. I had a friend that hit me up actually over the weekend and was like, one of my friends who's white. They said, "Look, my dad's kind of conservative. He ain't Donald Trump conservative. I know that. But they said, look, you got to get ready to go. My parents talking about moving out the country about it. And the bitch, you are black. You know what I'm saying? You a black trans masculine genderqueer person. Ho, you got to go. This is my friend. Because they said my
Yeah.
parents are packing the fuck up. They about to leave the country. So if they about to go and they're kind of more like upper middle class white people, then that's a sign that your ass anybody you know in a similar situation who can go should probably consider it, right? And so, so I'm great. What I'm saying, I'm grateful for moments like that. I'm grateful that, like, through uh different types of friendships or relationships, even like kind of secondary friendships through the different work and shit, that I've done over the years. Like, I've been in LGBT Inc. quote work this entire century, this entire millennial, right? Like, literally, right? 26 years, right? Before the money really came. That's why I know this moment will come and pass. And we will be okay on the other side of it, because there was no money like that until about 10 about 10 years ago. So that this world that we just experienced didn't exist. And will be okay. And it relies more on, with anything, organizing is about relationship building. Being in community with people is about relationship building. It's not about who don't meet my criteria. It's about what we got the fucking common. What's the common denominator, right? And so I'm scared, but I'm also, grateful for friendships and the network that I have to kind of help navigate through this moment. Um, and I just, like we were talking about earlier, remember, it's like, what the fuck can I control? Am I breathing? Am I sleeping? Am I eating?
Yeah.
Is my
Yeah.
heart, like, I gotta slow down and catch myself, because that's actually what matters the most. Because you can't really think clearly. It is like, the sky's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you can't really make sound decisions.
if your body is going crazy, your mind is going to follow. I think a lot of people forget that our brains are a part of our body, and that's why I'm glad y'all brought it up. Everybody, like Jay and like Diamond brought up, um, this war is affecting us in ways that, well, like all of us brought up, this war is affecting us in ways that we probably aren't even realized, because we are people who are gauging our interaction with negative news and negative press for our own well-being, and I think that that's something necessary for y'all to consider as well, everybody listening. But I can't control what you consume, but I can tell you this, that when you're consuming nothing but negativity, what can you expect to be processing? Yeah, we are what we eat. In many ways, we are what we consume. We think about what we know, what we hear, and what we see. So take a break, I recommend. And I recommend all of the techniques and coping mechanisms that my fellow hosts here have recommended.
Hey, for the veterans out there too, let us know how you're doing, right? Who are trans, who are queer, because we know we disproportionately represented in the military. Trans people are disproportionately overrepresented, and LGBT folks overall are overly represented, particularly those of us who are Black and people of color. So we thinking about y'all, and let us know as well, how you doing, for folks who have to deal with whatever this may mean for your career or deployment.
Yeah. How are y'all coping with this war, baby? How do y'all feel? Do you care? Let us know. Hashtag Marsha's Plate. That's hashtag MARSHASPLATE.
Yesterday, March 8th, was International Women's Day. And March is International Women's Month. Um, it was started in 1909. Are y'all familiar with International Women's Day or International Women's Month?
Yeah.
The day and the month?
Yeah, it
Okay,
started.
cool. Yeah. I'm just saying. I was just asking. Because I forgot about the day. I knew about the month, but didn't know about the day as much. International Women's Day, it's March 8th. It's a worldwide thing, um, commemorating the fight for equity and liberation along with women's rights movements. Like I mentioned, was started in 1909, and the holiday is promoted by the United Nations since 1977. And every year they have a theme. This year, I believe the theme is rights, justice, and action in honor of International Women's Day and Women's Month. I was just thinking about um, obviously different women in the community, overall, Black women in particular, Black trans women, Black queer women, who have shaped my journey personally, in a broad way and also interpersonal in a personal way. And one person I wanted to lift up is this woman named Rita Adair from Madison, Wisconsin, where I used to live. Spent my whole 20s there. Um, and she really created space. She's from there, comes from a Black community that's done a lot of work there. Um, there's an article, we'll have it in the notes. She talks about growing up and knowing trans folks without really knowing she knew trans folks. You know what I'm saying? Her mom was like, this is such and such, and you gonna call such and such. Okay, we don't call them such. You know what I mean? Just like normalizing us and, within the Black community. And she's done a lot of work for the Madison Black community. But my point of entry into knowing about her was at one point she owned a Black gay club in the city and used her, after she came out later as an adult, leveraged her connections and became the first Black person, period, apparently, to have a liquor license in downtown, which is a big deal there, and created this space that, I think in my 20s, it was really important, especially living somewhere that was a smaller city, and very, very white, to have a Black LGBT centered space. And she's gone on to do a lot of other work. She's been an adopted parent. I just wanted to highlight her real quick, for as someone who's created space. For you two, who are some of the people when you think about International Women's Day, and International and Women's History Month, that have impacted your journey, and how you see yourselves? Um, Obviously, yeah, that's my question.
So it really, we have these juggernaut Black feminist women that we know, like a name that come to mind now is like Bell Hooks and Audre Lorde, and there's these juggernauts that everybody reference and talk about and da 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 da. But also, for me, it's the Black feminists in my circle, like in my community. And it's not just one particular one, because every place, every decade of my life has a particular one. I remember, I talked about her before. I was a part of a theater group called the Asante Children Theater when I was like young, and the leader of that, Deb, she just introduced us to so much books, so much thought thought leadership around feminism and around the intersection between being a woman and being Black in the context of this world, in this country. And she just, as at the time I was a little boy, she entered the mindset of she just kind of exploded my mindset to think about it from that intersection, and think about it in a whole different way than me being conditioned as a boy. It was very much, even though I was a queer boy, it was very much people were trying to drill in my head certain things. And even though there was a rejection of it, there didn't feel like it it didn't feel like another perspective I could cling to, or like I'm like like it was very much like you try to push me down in this situation, and I don't know how to think. And then when I meet somebody like Deb, it was like, oh, this is a whole different way to think about things. But then I get to college and I'm meeting people, and then I get into my adulthood and I'm meeting these amazing peers that really um, sharpen me, and really, there's agreements, and then there's think about it this way, think about it in a nuanced way of this that kind of sharpened me and make me a better person, makes me a better woman, and makes me a better friend, makes me a better family member, makes me a better chosen family member, makes me better in that sense. And so I wouldn't say it's a particular name, but it's the feminist, thoughtful, intelligent women in my circle, like all of them. Like I have amazing. I recently went to New York and had some amazing conversations with my homegirls there, and I always learn from them. Then I was in this event in Dallas called the Black Trans Circles, led by Transgender Law Center, and met some Miss Sharon Grayson, and not met her. I already knew her, but I met another older than her trans woman who was Miss Donna Chapman, and hearing them talk and discuss their experience deeply and they are articulate and in their right mind to talk about it deeply, and that just was a powerful thing. And so it's the people around me, my that's just what it is. It's not a particular person. It's just that my peers who are brilliant and more brilliant than me, and I'm just learning for them, and I think I'm brilliant. And so just people who are more brilliant than me that think about things deeply and want me to be better. And yeah, it just was, yeah, those people, my circle of friends, trans women, um um yeah, women of all kinds.
What about you, Bree?
Mm. For
In terms
me,
of your Mhm.
it's an endless laundry list. I celebrate all women who have shown me, whether publicly or personally, that they are just as strong, if not stronger, just as capable, if not more capable than anyone else, any other demographic of people. For me, of course, my list is specific to a certain type of woman. Ellen DeGeneres is not on my list. You know, um, however, Oprah is, Michelle Obama is. For some examples of public people, so that people who y'all may know, people who I spoke about before, your Dr. Maya Angelou's, your Asada Shakur's, your Nikki Giovanni's, um, your I had this teacher, Miss Bryant. Looking back now, I know that Miss Bryant was a high femme lesbian, honey. But Miss Bryant had such an influence on me that I only had her for one class ever in my whole life. And this was as an elementary school child. This was probably second or third grade. And the way Miss Bryant commanded a classroom, I remember she had this saying that any excuse is better than none. And depending on your excuse for not having your homework, you might still get a check for the assignment. And it was so mind blowing that Miss Bryant had this rule, because Miss Bryant is one of these women who just commands attention. Like, you can't ignore her. If she walks into a room, you're going to spot her at some point before she walks out. Um, and just, very high femme. I'll let you use your imagination, of the 90s, high femme, tall, dark brown skin, short cut, beautiful, stunningly beautiful, model-esque, statuesque woman. And she stands out because she could command a classroom better than any man or any white woman that had ever taught me. So people like Miss Bryant, of course, the matriarch of my family, my grandmother, of course, other women close to me. I know them so closely, and I'm still close to them because of the representations of strength and independence and talent. My mother, my grandmother, my auntie, trans women have inspired me, and I have a statement, and I have thoughts about admiring trans women during Women's Day, but your Laomi showing me that she could vote just as well, if not better than any man or butch queen that touched that floor, honey. Your various other femme queens, your Mikas and showing me not just beauty, which the ballroom is known for, but skill and talent, something that is not in them, it is them. And they just reek your performers like your Stashas. Um yeah, but I feel guilty in admiring trans women during Women's Month because I know that it's not accepted. I honestly don't feel comfortable with it. Of course I'm gonna do it. And of course I know that for some people I may even be on that list. And I respect that completely. And I know that this is where trans women belong, but I don't feel like it's made for us. I don't feel like it was made with us in mind. Um, and honestly, sometimes Women's Month and Women's Day, and I know there are going to be a lot of cis women who get upset with this, but sometimes it reminds me of the neglect that I feel as a trans woman. Because when I see people celebrate it publicly, it reminds me of the fact that I've never seen a trans woman get a Mother's Day card. It reminds me of the fact that cis women are viewing cis as a slur. It reminds me of the fact that they don't want us in the bathroom, unfortunately. But I know this might hit some people various ways, but it's my truth.
Um, hearing you say that it's making one. I want to get your thoughts on that, Diamond. Um, it just makes me think about the fact that most stuff that says it. Well, two things. One, most stuff, especially before I transition and being in women's coalition spaces and all this kind of stuff. Uh, Usually when they say woman, their default is a white woman who is cisgender and has a certain type of gender expression and identity. That doesn't mean we as black women who were majority at that time cis assumed everybody in the spaces that I was in at that time, some of us lesbians, right, weren't like, the fuck is this? Right? There are some folks who are like, that don't include us. What, like, I just like, white people gonna white. And if you're not including us in those spaces, or I'm just sharing this perspective. Like this kind of conversation I've heard this conversation before. Insert the conversation talking about back in the day. Insert black women having this conversation. You know what I'm saying, about a conference or about whatever. Right? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, this conversation is familiar, and at least at that time, it's like either we're going to create our own shit. Not necessarily saying we're not gonna celebrate International Women's Day or Women's but we're just gonna do it that centers us, or fuck with people that fuck with us. You know what I mean? Because just because just because white people don't fuck shit, and just because people are on some fuck shit around trans women, to me some of that is education, because some people just don't know, right? And then for people who are like, I don't want to know, fuck them, right? So and I think it's a similar thing can apply into what you're saying, Brie. It's like, I don't think you should feel some kind of way just because other people don't fuck shit. Now, I know you do. I'm just sharing this perspective, you know, um, just because other people are on some fuck shit, right? I think part of the reason you don't see you don't see trans women a lot in these conversations. I think a lot of it is lack of education. Just like you don't see a lot of black women either. Oftentimes, you talk, like I said, it's usually centering. You might have a couple women of color to kind of spice up the photograph so they can say we have inclusion. But that's not, I'm not looking to that to center us. I'm not looking to them to center, like, I guess what I'm saying is like, fuck haters. You are affirmed, right? And then also, like, for people who just don't quite understand, if there's a Venn diagram that has cis, there's, or not, maybe not a Venn diagram, but there's circles, right? There's like trans women, cis women, AFAB trans people, okay? And we all overlap in that space at certain points in our journeys, at different points in our journeys, right? Um, all at the same time. And there's ways in which we are in solidarity together. There are ways in which we need to be in better solidarity together. There are ways in which we can learn from each other and support each other, because at that intersection with all of that are these things. Because the attack on women is an attack, both the way they do it is both about the social piece about women and the bodies of AFAB people, right? Both of those things are like the targets initially, right? And now we're expanding that conversation in terms of the quote bodies to include trans women, but the social piece already includes trans women. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's already there. That's already there, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Um,
I get it. I just
just for some of our listeners though, right? Or
yeah.
like just bringing that perspective. Or, I remember having conversations where we were like, oh, so just the okay, so we just representing like super femme straight women. Where the lesbians at? Where's the diversity in the like literally? Like those conversations, I've been in those conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So like, it's not to say like don't be salty about the lack of representation, but I just want to affirm you and let you know, like, even though I know you know this and like you already acknowledged, but just also for some listeners, fuck them. You are who you are, and fuck with people that affirm you. You know what I'm saying? And build affirming spaces. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And some of them already exist. You just might gotta look a little harder, you know. Because especially as we enter back into the before times, they exist, and they're not always as flashy, and they're not always as well funded, but they already exist. Yeah, fuck haters. Diamond, your thoughts on that last comment with Bree?
My default is not exclusion or even thinking about exclusion. My default is inclusion. So I'm not even questioning whether or not
Right.
trans women should be into it, because I think Jay just explained beautifully about the different circles that we're in, and how even as AFAB people that who have transitioned to another identity, there at some point somebody is we're there's some overlap there. I think that was a beautiful explanation. And for me, how I think about womanhood, I'm never questioning. There is no shame, there's no guilt. I'm never thinking about it where when it comes to women, of us thinking about it where we're not in it. Do I understand the erasure? Yes. So I understand what you're saying in regards to, do I understand that there are some
Yeah.
people in the world that erase us, but I think of it kind of like feminism in period. Like when we think about how the story is told about feminism, it's always a white story. It's always, we gonna get the history of Harriet Beecher Stowe, and they're going to erase Frances Hill Harper. They're gonna erase, you know,
Ida
they,
B. Wells,
Ida B. Wells. They're gonna
Dorothy Height.
erase.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have these people. They're gonna tell the white story because of how the power structure is. But I, as a black woman, know that black women is when we talk about feminism. Yeah, you can claim, if you're a black man, you can claim, oh, these white women got y'all brainwashed. No, bitch, that's because you have erased us from the narrative. You think that feminism started at Seneca Falls, bitch. Fuck you. You don't know the history. I know that there were black women pushing these women in these conversations. When have you ever heard of white women just coming up with something like that's a dismantling oppression? We see what they're doing now in 2026. That usually it's us that's pushing them in a direction that's sharpening them and making them better. So You want to claim, because you want to keep patriarchy in power, you want to claim that we're brainwashed by white women, but that's just not how feminism works in my world. I know what womanism is. I know what feminism is. I know the black narrative and how we play a part in it. So I'm never gonna erase it and allow the outside public, or the what Toni Morrison called the master narrative,
Mhm.
um I'm never going to let that dictate how anything that I feel in regards to how I feel about inclusion. So my default is inclusion, it's not exclusion. So I'm going to always be, and when I think about womanhood, I'm going to always think of people who I think of as women, and that includes trans women. And I'm gonna go feel guilty about that. I'm not gonna even engage with bitches who even is in question whether or not we should be there, or even if it isn't made for us. There's a lot of shit that's not made for me that I'm not gonna allow you to push me out of when I know that this is what I'm experiencing. I have never birthed a child ever, but I have experienced motherhood. I'm sorry, babe. It may not be a valid motherhood experience to you because I didn't have somebody come out of my birth canal. Da, da, da,
Mhm.
da. Cool. No, I haven't experienced that physical thing of birthing a child, but I have experienced nurturing and taking care of a child, nurturing and taking care and being deeply emotionally invested in the care for a child. And is that the only aspect of motherhood? Absolutely not. Absolutely
But
not.
it's a great aspect of it. It's a
But it's
huge
a
aspect.
great. I am somebody, a trans woman who got a Mother's Day card, because you know who think of me as their second mother? My little brother. He has said it out of his
Right.
mouth. He was like, I'm, and in moments of his life, he says, I'm more close to you than my own mama. Because you
I'm
have
sure.
been whatever the because of my mother's addiction, there was times
Where
whatever
you were more maternal.
I was the
You
maternal
had
one,
that
or
responsibility, right?
whatever the romanticized ideal of a mother. I was performing that romanticized ideal for him. So he was like, this is who it is. So I'm going to give my sister this special card, or give my mother one and give my sister one, because da 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 da. Da. And so feeling proud of my brother, feeling, and I know this is not the same as a mother who birthed and da 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 da.
Diamond
But
too. I just want to insert too, right? Like not all women who are cis give birth to children, right? And
right,
like there's so many ways that for women who are cis who have been aunties or adopted mom, play mama, all kinds of stuff, particularly within our community as, black folks within the governance structure of our community. A lot of us got play mamas or auntie that helped raise us, or women in our life who did not give birth to us and have seen examples of other folks being raised by the person that did not give birth to them, who is a woman. Like that's just,
Yeah,
anyway, I just wanted to, yeah.
my
Like I
primary
don't think
parent
that's
wasn't.
not even exclusive. Even though there's certain nuances that come with being a trans woman, it's not something that's not exclusive to trans women, but that's something that all women um who haven't given birth often experience, is that pushback sometimes around like, well, you need to, no, I had these I was a parent. Okay, you know what I'm saying? You had those roles of responsibility, Diamond, and that's just what it is. But I just wanted to put that in there too. Like, no, not every woman that's a parent, that's a mother, gives birth, regardless if they're trans or cis.
and my story doesn't dilute the depth and divinity of that natural birthing mother. My story, how I experienced being a mothering person, how it doesn't dilute that. It doesn't dilute the specialness, the naturalness, the depth, the divinity of that. I think that is a beautiful thing. That is literally how we are continue our species as as humanity. I think that's beautiful. But my experiencing this does not dilute that, or impede on how special that is at all.
Right.
as a mother. I'm not saying, oh, my motherhood is just as equal as yours, and you sat in labor for 24 hours. No, I'm not diluting that at all. But what I'm telling you is I'm not gonna let you dilute mine.
I I celebrate trans women during Women's Month.
Yeah, and so I'm not gonna let, just like I'm not shitting on your womanhood, impeding on it, taking away from it, doing anything just on womanhood in general. I'm not gonna let you dilute mine, because just because mine experiences is different than yours, I'm not gonna let you erase mine. I am who I am. Whether you acknowledge me, erase me, da 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 da, over here in my world, in this double, triple consciousness, it is real, it is valid, and that's just what it is. That's how I think about it.
I live for it. I'm glad that both of y'all said what y'all said in response to my feelings. And I'm grateful that this is a space where I feel safe enough to even say that on air. For everybody who's listening as well. I feel safe enough with y'all. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm human and I still have some deprogramming and some reprogramming to do. And I think that this is just an example to all of y'all that I'm learning to be more vulnerable in front of the camera.
Oops, sorry. Shout out to trans masculine folks, trans guys who held space in women's spaces and have done a lot of work around equity, around or who were broke barriers, who've done a lot of work to advance the rights, advance, yeah, justice, equity for women prior to transitioning. You are seeing here, and oftentimes, we don't have to be the center of the conversation, then that's fine. But I just want to acknowledge folks and the work, what the work that you may have done before you took a hormone is, we're still grateful for it. And it should be acknowledged if that work is work that was about centering women and creating spaces, creating opportunities. The experience does transgress, get it? Um, how people normally talk about gender, and talk about the experiences of women. There hasn't really been a lot of language created to talk about the experience of people who are trans men or trans masculine people, especially those folks who transition like in their 30s or older, who already were like doing work, had a life. And the foundation they stand on is based on their experiences as a woman. We see you. We thank you as well. Um, you are valid, and the work you have done is valid, and it still should be seen, even though you look different, if you do. And for those who don't, we see you too. Um, but yeah, International Women's Day. This was a great conversation. Um, I mean, it don't get, this is a very unique conversation you're gonna get on Marsha's plate. Happy International Women's Day, even though it was yesterday. Happy Women's History Month. Celebrate with your people. Lift up all women, and that includes trans folks, trans women too. Let us know how you're celebrating Women's History Month, or if you did anything for International Women's Day. Who are the women in your life you want to lift up? Who are the women who aren't necessarily in your personal life, but that you might look up to, past and present? Hit us up, hashtag Marsha's Plate. Hit them up, Bree, let them know.
Hashtag MARSHASPLATE.
Period.
Gimme euphoria, more than peace of mind. It's the joy and space to change the tide. Gimme euphoria, more than peace of mind. It's the joy and space to change the tide. Gimme it's a feeling and a high you never come down from. Whoa.
So, what is bringing y'all euphoria this week?
I'll go first. And usually I'm like, I don't know. I'll be so many things. I think I mentioned being around my family before, but and going to the old house. But it really has. This is the first time I think that I've been back home where it was like 100% a situation prior to that was just like prior to a big move that happened later once I was like in middle school. It was very like the innocence, this thing before a lot of things changed in my life. And I'm very grateful for that. Um, to spend the time with my siblings and my other mom, because we don't do no step mama stuff in my family. Uh, so and to be in the house that we grew up in, like we all were raised in this house and walking up the steps and talking about jacks and marbles and memories. It was really good to be able to experience that with my sister and my older brother, because he hasn't been in that house for like over 30 years. So, and we hadn't really seen him, for a very long time. So it was really cool. But it was very cathartic, I guess is what I'm saying. To kind of to have that experience and to yeah, it's just been very cathartic. And that's bringing me euphoria because it's very full circle, I guess, so to speak, right? Like innocent. Like my brother remembers when I shaved my eyebrow trying to shave my face, like my father. You know what I'm saying? I still got a little divot. You know what I'm saying? Like and shit like that. So it's really cool to because like I haven't, I think I've shared, like my brother moved when we were kids. So I didn't see him for over 30 years. He left when he was like 12, 13. I was like 6. And then he came back some about 8 years ago. We saw each other in person for the first time. So him being back as we continue to support my dad with his situation, it's been really, it's been really good. So it was nice we're missing one sibling that was with us. But they're very far out of state. But it was nice. And so I'm grateful for that. It's just very full circle, even around, not just around just life in general, but also specifically around my gender journey as well, to be able to kind of share that space and those memories. What about you, Bree? What's bringing you euphoria this week?
Hi, I had a motherfucking epiphany today of all days. While we recording this episode, I had an epiphany today. It's been an epiphany day for me. Outside of the fact that it's been a beautiful day outside here, beautiful weather, you would never think it just snowed, honey. Um, I'm in the shower, honey. The water running over my spirit, baby. And I just had a moment like, oh bitch, you starting to feel like yourself again. Like you is really stepping outside of crazy breed. Like, we starting to recognize sanity. Like, but no, seriously, I'm recognizing the girl in the mirror again. And it's so fun and it's so funny. I don't think it's a coincidence that I tend to have these moments when, like, right after a seizure, like the aftermath of a seizure for me has typically been like epiphany moments, retrospective moments, maybe because physically I'm forced to sit my ass down. Psychologically I'm forced, like my brain is literally not moving and not powered at its typical rate when recovering from a seizure. But no, I had multiple moments of realization that I'm genuinely I'm genuinely coming out of this bout of depression, and I'm a little bit scared to say it, but I think truthfully I've stepped out of my last bout of depression officially. Again, when I look in the mirror, I'm seeing myself. But that's coming with rude awakenings because I'm also realizing that I've been crazy as cat shit on the hot tin roof for the past couple of years. Now that I've documented it and I can look back on things that I've said and I've done and I'm remembering and recalling things that I've done and shit that I wouldn't even admit on here, honey, baby, because I wouldn't want to incriminate my motherfucker self. But no, like it's really, I've really been doing some shit, honey. So I've been destructive and all of those things, but I'm at this point in my life where it's like, baby, you gotta accept me as a whole, or don't accept me at all. And if the depressed version of me is too much for you, I understand. No hard feelings. Um, but on the same hand, I'm also excited to try and figure out myself and continuing being on my mental health journey. It's no coincidence that I'm in therapy now, full time as well. Um, I was a little hesitant to go into therapy this time. It's been some pushback in me going into therapy this time. I know some of it was self-sabotage, but some of it is honestly fear that I'm not going to get a good therapist. But to be fair, the child that I got now, they're newly in the field. They're probably literally old enough to be my child. Um, and I'm using therapy as I have sometimes in the past, and I'm using it as a sounding board. And at the end of the day, it is showing me better results than not having anybody at all to talk to. Um, yeah, my whole perspective, the old Brie is coming back. No, the old Brie is here, honey. But we gotta get her back in fucking shape, though, honey. This belly is poked the fuck out, honey. I'm already back on my hormones. I had to stop taking my hormones, as I shared on my platforms. When I'm going through bouts of depression, estrogen excites that and exacerbates that. It essentially doesn't help, and sometimes fights against various antipsychotics that I take to treat the depression. So now I'm at a place where I'm back on my hormones. I'm feeling real cunt again, honey. But I'm sometimes looking in the mirror like, bitch, you ain't done nothing with your hair, bitch. Honey, you ain't been painting your motherfucking face, bitch. You out here looking raw, uncut for all these niggas and hoes. The first time they sniff it, it might hurt their nose, but only the strong survive. Anyway, yeah, I'm feeling euphoria because I'm feeling like I'm back, but I'm also wondering, do I got split personalities or something? What's bringing you euphoria, Diamond?
First of all, before we get to me, what you been doing with your hair? Because it's looking so juicy and sheen, and the curls been popping, ladies. You've been doing something because it looks
I have
juicy
been
and healthy.
Thank you, sister. I have been overall taking better care of myself. I wasn't taking care of my hair for a long time, which is why it's not as long as it was. But I've been trimming my hair and shampooing my hair and conditioning my hair more regularly. Basic shit that I should have been doing, but when I can only speak for myself, when I'm out of my mind, I don't even see life in the same way, if that makes sense at all. And things that are important to me, like my presentation, become unimportant.
Mm. Well, it
Yeah.
looks good. I love it. That's bringing me euphoria as you talk because it's looking
Thank you.
so the curls is popping. It
It
looking
is bouncing.
looking-
It is
yeah,
lots of
it looks
volume there.
gorgeous.
Lots of volume.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, what's bringing me euphoria this week? So, I years ago, I want to say probably like 20 years ago, I had to go through a process of learning how to accept compliments. People would give me compliments and I would immediately kind of say something to shit on it. Like if you say, if it, oh, that's a pretty dress, I'd be like, oh, that's old thing. I got it from the Goodwill. Like I would say things that would diminish it and it's any kind of compliment because it felt, I don't know, it didn't, a compliment felt, I don't know, it kind of made me cringe a little bit. I don't know why. Stupid. Young and dumb or whatever. It was hard for me to just accept. Like just you gave me a compliment, thank you. Like
I
just
get
it was something about it. It's something that made me uncomfortable. And so 20 years
Kind
ago,
of
I had to
compliment.
learn
Yeah.
to just say thank you and boom. And so and this is not a war and me conversation, but part of it was 20 years ago, I'm coming into I was coming into my womanhood way earlier than that, but I was out in the streets and there was this kind of brand. This is not a one me light skin conversation, but there is a brand on light skinned girls of people automatically assuming that you think you all that you stuck up, that you da 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 da. And so a part of kind of combating that. If I would get a compliment, I would try to, that would be a part of it where I would kind of shit on myself. Anyway, so accepting compliments, I had to learn to just accept it. Thank you and move on. I'm the similar way with gifts. So I'm very similar with gifts. So it's hard if somebody says, "Oh, what do you want for your birthday?" Oh, no. Don't do nothing for my birthday. Just I love that I want you to send me a text, send me, let me acknowledge it, of course, but no, don't spend your money on that. I'm very that. I don't like a gift exchange type of situation. I don't like it. I don't like the pressure of it. I don't like the somebody worrying about figuring out if I'm gonna like it or not, or it's just something about gift that gives me the same anxiety that I felt about conflict compliment. It's something that's like, ooh, you gave me a gift, and oh, now I got the pressure I got to make sure the gift is equal next year and on your birthday, and it's just something that's so I have a friend, Brianna McCree, and she's the type of person that, girl, fuck all that shit you talk about. I'm sending you a gift.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Right,
It ain't got nothing to do with what you got. I want to give it to you. So So she sent me this box. I'm gonna post the video because she said when you get the box, I want you to be recording yourself opening it up. I want you to record yourself opening it. And so I said, okay. So I put the camera up and I opened the box, and it was this cute ass box. This right here. It says, "Happy birthday, bestie." And when you open it up, the action didn't happen now because it was before my birthday. But when you open it up, it drops like this, and these butterflies pop out of it. They're not real butterflies, but they're like
yeah.
little mechanical things, and they pop out and start flying everywhere. And that brought me so much joy. Just it's so, and she has pictures of us when we were in Hawaii, pictures of us when they came to see Marsha's Plate live, if y'all remember, did
Yeah.
our live show, and just little sayings and sayings that is relevant to us as in our friendship. And I was like, oh my God, this is so sweet. I love this because I don't accept gifts. Most of my friends don't give me gifts. And so because I say, no, don't spend your money and da 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 da. And you get what I'm saying? Even some people was like, where are we going for your birthday dinner? I'm like, no, I'm going out of the country. I'm going, don't spend. So I kind of try to keep it low so nobody is spending money in that way. And so she forced me to accept this gift from her. And it made me feel so much joy, so much euphoria that she sent me this. And it's just a beautiful thing, thoughtful thing. And so yeah, it's me accepting it and then sending her a message saying thank you. You made me feel special and da 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 da, and just accepting it brought me euphoria. And yeah, I'm happy to be 45. I'm happy to have made it. I'm happy to I always thought about being in my late 30s and early 40s in a positive way. That because it was something that I thought when it comes to aging, I feel like that middle age is where people respect you. You're old enough to be respected by older adults, and you're young enough to still be relevant to younger people. And so that always made me feel good. But now I'm going into the era where even myself, I think I'm older. And so I'm even looking at people like recently somebody, a celebrity or something. My aunt Lisa hit 57. So like today, like her birthday is today. And so we always had close to birthday, but her birthday is today and she hit 57. When I was younger, I never felt anywhere near close to the age of my aunt Lisa. Like I never even thought about it because she was a grown woman. When I was in my teens, she was in her 20s. So in my brain, that's a grown woman. And she was married to my uncle who was way, way more older. And so there was an age gap even between them. And so I always thought of her, and she was super homely. So I always thought of her as older. And so to see her celebrate her 57th birthday, and when I think of 45 and 57,
Yeah.
I don't think of that as super far away from each other in the way that I did when I was younger, seeing her age at that time. And I was like, oh my God, we are. And even my Aunt Georgia, who I'm way, way more closer to, she is like 58. And we be talking, and she was like, Diamond, your ass is 45? She was like, I remember when you was a little boy. I remember when you was you have grown into the woman you are, because she's super affirming, and you have grown into the woman you are, and you really 45, like the little kid that was. And I was like, yeah, I'm not far from you, Auntie. We having some of the same conversations because we are older women now, and she's not looking at me as this younger person.
As a child.
And it feels like, even in my own mind, I feel closer to 57, even though we're not, the distance between our age has not changed. But how I look at her as a woman and how she looks at me as a woman is totally different in how I look at age. So when I hear people's age, older people who I think, even like celebrities who I think are like, who was out a long time ago, like when I think of like Taraji, when I think of Gabrielle Union, I'm like, oh, these were grown people because they were grown in the movies, but they in their 50s. And I'm like, oh, this is not far from me. So, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So,
happy belated birthday as well.
All of that brought me euphoria this week. So, yeah. Shout out to aging and loving it.
Yes.
Let us know what is bringing y'all euphoria this week. Hashtag March and Play, and we will see y'all next week.
Love y'all.
Hasta luego.
Well, that's it. Thank you for coming and getting a taste of Marsha's Plate. You can listen to us on iTunes and SoundCloud. Make sure you leave a review because we really need those 5 stars, y'all.
And go like our Facebook page and leave some comments. We'll be posting exclusive content every Thursday, so you definitely don't want to miss out.
You can also follow us on Twitter and any other social media site at Marsha's Plate. If you'd like to donate or advertise with us, hit us up at diamondstylz@gmail.com. That's diamondstylz@gmail.com.
And that's it for us, y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You gonna say bye, Mia?
Oh, bye, y'all.
Every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't you worry about a thing. Baby, you're gonna be alright.